Recording in progress.
Yes, team, welcome to today's training, which will hopefully again be more bangers than mash. And I think what we come on to today, before I hit the training, it is a big training, this, and it's also quite intense. So it's probably a bit of a note making one. There's a lot of information and one to go back over as well to see where it fits within your life and what's going on. So I'm going to be discussing the 6 basic human needs. And what I think you'll find interesting is if I ask each of you now, what are the 6 basic human needs? Again, I'll be really interested. So in the comments, either on replay, comment hashtag replay if you're watching on replay, on YouTube, or on in the chat now, or even when I post the replay in the private client Facebook group. Without going forward, pause and write down what you think the 6 basic human needs are, because I guarantee they're probably not what you think they are. Now, a big thing that I want to mention before I come on to this is that it relates exactly, without me even meaning to on this training, it relates to almost everything that most of you, some of you, many of you may have been experiencing from a disappointment form of angle in the past few weeks. So, as I said, let's take the 3 peaks as an example. Some people had created a need which fits within one of these, which I will mention, that they had to complete the 3 peaks in order to be okay, and that they are good enough. Then the next human need or the next situation would be how some of you feel every weekend. There were numerous people this weekend, and we all do it, that jumped on the scales yet again last week or this week in spite of watching the training and were quote unquote devastated, disappointed, gutted, distraught, depressed, angry, frustrated, and every single red negative emotion and in between, because the scales didn't say what they wanted it to. The scales either hadn't gone down, they'd gone up, or they didn't fit in with your pictures and your expectations of what you believe you needed to get paid in order for the work you'd done last week. Now, if this happens, we have to turn this instantly. I understand that it's frustrating, but you cannot operate from that place. And this comes down to the needs that I'm going to talk on to, because what is happening is, with so many people at the minute, and like I said, the 2 examples I'm going to use are the 3 peaks and weekly fat loss, weekly weight loss. We know we shouldn't be using the scales as the primary marker of focus, but what's happening is multiple people are so fixated on the outcome, you are making it impossible for yourself to feel happy or like you are good enough, even though Friday's training explained very clearly that you are good enough. So we're creating a need in our head that this has to happen in order for me to feel happy. But the thing that you need to happen in order for you to feel happy, you're not in control of. So you're always going to sometimes experience this disappointment, anger, frustration, resentment. And when you do, you can't operate on that place. So rather than focusing on the weight that you want to lose or the weight that you haven't lost and the emotions that are connected to that and the way it's making you feel, and then sometimes who you want to blame, we have to focus on doing the work. You can't operate from an angry, red, destructive, disappointed, resentful, blaming, complaining, justifying place. You will have a terrible week. I promise you. Okay, it's the same. It's exactly like I said, the same in sales. If I jump on a sales call and I have a need that in order for me to feel like I'm good enough, that sales call has to convert. Well, I'm under no control over whether that person is going to convert or not. And then 3, 4, 5, 6 on the row all might not convert and decide not to work with me. That's okay. That's just life. But if I turn up, how do you think my emotions and my persona will come across on that sales call if I'm completely attached to whether the person joins up or not? I'm completely attached to the outcome. I'll come across beggy, pushy, stressy, forceful, and I will repel that person away from me. Just like many of you are repelling fat loss away from you. Because all you're focused on is the thing that you want to get. So if your mind is completely attached to, if all your thoughts and energy are on the weight that you haven't lost, you're going to have a terrible week. All your thoughts and energy should be on the work that you need to do. We've said this time and time again, focusing on the process, not the prize, focusing on the journey, not the outcome. But if we're that fixated on what we haven't got, what we want, why we haven't got it, whose fault it is, how it's not happening as fast as we want, you can't operate from that place. I can't jump on a coaching call from an angry, stressed, reactive place because it will come across and then the person will mirror me. So just take that away as a little bit of an insight into, where you may be going wrong. And if you are, like I said, on Friday's training, the biggest reason most people are unhappy is they completely attach their net worth to their self-worth. If I have this, I will be happy. If I have money, I will be happy. If I have a car, I am good enough. If I have XXXXXXX, I'm good enough. And it's the same thing. And then it's impossible to feel happy. So again, what's happening is, if I weigh X, then I'm good enough. If this happens, and then when it doesn't, all the energy is on the thing that we want, that we haven't got, not on doing the work that we need to get it. So, we all have 6 basic human needs. You're all very quiet. Not one person has guessed any of these human needs. Have you all had a coffee so far? Have you all had a Monster? Luke Birch, acceptance, close, very close. So why this is going to be so influential for you today, I believe, is because this is about human behaviour. And these basic needs should, if you are open to it, to take it on board, explain everything that you do in your life. That it will explain exactly how love is one of them. Yes, love and connection. It will explain exactly why you do the things you do, why you behave the way you do. So you can then come at it from an angle of, why do I always behave like this? To, that's why I keep behaving like that. That's why I keep experiencing that emotion. Now it makes sense. I can understand it and move forward. This is why this training is going to be entitled Understanding Human Behaviour, not the 6 basic human needs. And also, what else happens? Drop me a yes if you get triggered every day by other people and their behaviour. Well, rather than just judging them, rather than just being angry, security, kind of, one of them, Julie, certainty is what that one's called, and energy, kind of, that fits within certainty as well. Then we can start to be a little bit more empathetic. We can start to be a little bit more compassionate. calmer, nicer, more loving. That's why Luke keeps behaving like that. I get it now. It's not his fault. He's just trying his best. That's why he's doing that. Now that I understand why he's behaving the way he is, then I can try and help him. And then what am I doing? I'm applying two of the other basic needs that nobody's guessed, which are the needs for growth and contribution. So when we peel back the layers of an individual, when we peel back the layers of the onion, when we peel back the layers of our behaviour, there are almost certainly one of these 6 reasons why we do what we do. And if we can analyse these, if you're willing to do the deep work on this and watch this training a few times and be vulnerable enough to look into your life and strong enough to take the ownership and responsibility for, that's why I behaved like a dick in that situation. That's why I reacted like an absolute twat on Wednesday, rather than constantly in denial and fighting to be right and stubborn and egotistical and proving your point, then you will truly move forwards. But when you can study and analyse where these needs show up in your life, then you will truly start to move forward and you will truly start to understand why you do what you do. And when you understand why you do what you do, it's very easy to then implement the behavioural change that's needed to get the life you want. Because when you understand why, it's so much easier to change. Monster. So, the need for certainty is the number one need. Write these down. The number one human need is the need for certainty. Now, we all need some certainty, right? I need some certainty that there's going to be a can of Monster in the fridge, or I simply won't be able to operate. I need certainty that Zoom is going to work, or I can't deliver this training. I need certainty that that fucking roof's not going to fall down, because if it does, I'm screwed. I need certainty I can eat and drink, because if I can't drink and I can't eat food, then I'm going to be in a very, very dangerous place very, very soon. So we all need a certain level of certainty. We need certainty we can pay our bills. We need certainty we can feed our kids. However, in so many areas, certainty has been twisted by society that it becomes a false belief and an illusion that holds you back from living your wildest dreams and achieving your goals. And it's based on an unconscious, not your fault, and what I've often heard Paul describe as an inappropriate need for certainty. We've discussed this again. Most people would never ask a girl or boy out at school because they don't know if they're going to say yes or no, and they wouldn't want to deal with the emotion if it was the answer that they didn't get. It's why people don't ask for a pay rise. It's why people don't change jobs. It's why people avoid confrontation, because they're not sure of what the outcome's going to be, so they'd rather stay safe and avoid the emotions that might crop up as a result of having that conversation. Here's the truth. Outside of the basic things that I just discussed, certainty doesn't exist. It's an illusion that society has created and that you have taken on board to stay safe. Yet most people spend their entire lives in unhappy relationships and in unhappy careers, living a soul-sucking existence where they're miserable based on their need for certainty. Now, here is what will hopefully ping, light bulb this off. How many times have you had something that you thought was certain, only to have it snapped away like that? How many times have you had a job and then you lost your job? How many times have you had a partner and then you lost the partner? How many times have you had a family member and then you lost the family member? How many times have you had money then you were skin? How many times have you felt in love and you thought you were going to love that person forever, then all of a sudden you didn't? Even being alive tomorrow isn't fucking certain. Stick that in our pipes next time we're moaning about something ridiculous. So if it's an illusion, if it's false, because we haven't got certainty, none of us have got certainty, then why are we so conditioned to it? Why are we so obsessed with certainty, safety, comfort zone? Now, this is when it gets very interesting and very confusing, which is why I said make notes. Because the second need is the need for uncertainty or variety. Think about that for a minute. If you had total certainty of everything in your life, you would be fucking bored out of your brains within 2 or 3 weeks. Imagine your life now, and that is exactly how it is every single day for the rest of your life. I always go back to the story, don't I, when I was saying to Gary, oh, Gary, I just need to get 50 grand in my bank account, and when I do, I'll be buzzing because I feel safe and I'll secure. And it's like, nah, you won't show up for work, mate. You will stop showing up. Imagine if you just knew everything was going to be okay forever. How would you show up? Where's the passion? Where's the inspiration? Where's the drive? You would be so, if you're not bored, you would be uninspired at best. These are the people that just live fucking boring lives, right? Nat, I and Logan went out yesterday, and it was people. I love people watching, right? And there were so many families when the grandma and granddad were out with the parents who were in their 30s, 40s, 50s, sometimes the kids. Every single one of the people, right, in their 60s or 70s, I've never seen such a bunch of miserable fucking people in my life. Complaining about everything, complaining about the table being not clean, snapping at the grandkids, snapping at the kids, face literally like bulldogs chewing fucking wasps. So miserable. And if you look at a lot of people in their 60s and 70s, not all of them, and certainly not my grandparents, they are just miserable. They have no identity without moaning. Everything's wrong in the world. Everything's wrong in every restaurant. Everything's wrong with the youth of today. Everything is wrong. Because they've just got this settled, certain, secure life with no goals, no aspirations, no nothing. Like complete certainty. They've got their house, they go shopping on Monday, they get their pension on this day, they do this on this day, they do this on this, they do it, and you can see how mundane and unhappy they are because they have no variety. They have no uncertainty. But then again, too much certainty makes you crave uncertainty, like a seesaw. But think everyone's different. Some people crave variety in their relationships. That's why they go to fucking swingers clubs. That's how much some people crave variety. I crave variety that much. I'm willing to let 7 other guys bang my wife on a Saturday night. Brilliant. Probably going a little bit too far the other end. But that is how much people crave variety. Some people will crave certainty so much the other way that they will just never look at any other options. We get the same car every year. We're going to live in the same house. We go to the same place in Mallorca and we stay in the same room, in the same hotel, and we eat the same fucking food every year for the last 20 years. You see these people on the coaches leaving the airport. Because they daren't even try another hotel because, oh God, what if it hasn't got the yogurt that I like at breakfast? Okay, so there's opposite ends of this spectrum and it's like a seesaw, right? So we're either living on the edge, typical entrepreneur, adrenaline junkie me, right? Living life on the edge. Don't like certainty. Like love change, love variety, or you have living safe. And we're all somewhere in between. So for me, it's about getting a balance. You can't just be the person I've been a lot of the time, because you just constantly end up bankrupt or injured, because you're always just doing the next crazy thing to get that buzz, chase, and never get it, and then burn out. So this inappropriate need, drum roll, for safety, what does it do? Yep, you've named it, that other false illusion thing called your comfort zone. The place that takes all your dreams to the grave. Most people's need for certainty will allow them to live an unhappy life and take their dreams to the grave. Trust me, never ever has a person said, I'm happy as I am, and actually meant it. What they mean is, I daren't peel back these layers and see what else is underneath, see what else is out there, because I'm addicted to safety. So it stops you reaching your potential. This need for certainty stops you living life to your fullest. That's why I always play that song, Live Your Life, Be Free. You can have it all. Okay? But it will stop you reaching your potential, this need for certainty and safety. I'm not saying be stupid. Think of parents, every time you try to do something, oh, be careful. I don't want to be careful. Like, as long as he's not causing himself harm, I'm not going to tell Logan to be careful. I'm going to take risks, be daring, go and live your life, do crazy stuff. And then what else do we call it? Apart from the comfort zone. What else does it show up as? Fear. I don't do it because I'm afraid. We know that fear is bullshit, because fear is an immediate risk of death or harm. It never is that in these situations. What we mean is discomfort. So I'm going to stay certain to avoid discomfort, which leads to procrastination, which leads you living that unhappy hamster wheel of life. So ask yourself, where do you sit? I've been sitting far too far on the level of uncertainty. That's why I nearly went bankrupt. Okay? But I don't want to live so certain that I never try anything new, because I'll be like, right, I'm just going to do this and I'll do this, and I'm going to get my income to this amount, and I'm going to get my bills to this amount, and as long as those two things stay there and I do this, everything will be safe and secure and I'll be all right. Bored and uninspired and not doing the work within a couple of weeks. Playing small is fucking dangerous, trust me, because it leads to boredom and it leads to inaction. So we all need both, right? We need a bit of both. But the more certain you are, the more you are to the certain side of the seesaw, I would say the more unhappy, the less excited, the less inspired, the more settled, and the more bored you will be. Stuck, lost, going nowhere fast. The less uncertain you're willing to make your life, the more risks you're willing to take, the more inspired, driven, fulfilled, and purposeful life you will live. And this is the all-time, probably most famous Tony Robbins quote. The quality of your life and your business and your results and your progress, I've added that bit in, he didn't say that. He just said the quality of your life is in direct correlation with the amount of uncertainty that you can comfortably handle. It's in direct, I think he used the word proportion actually. The quality of your life is in direct proportion with the amount of uncertainty that you can comfortably handle. Write that down. And it's these great phrases through life, right? Success will always favour the risk taker. Show me an entrepreneur that hasn't taken massive risks. Show me a business owner or a leader who hasn't taken massive risks. Tell me a person who's achieved an amazing physical feat that it didn't involve taking serious risk. It doesn't happen. Fortune favours the brave. That's another one. Success will always favour the risk taker. Fortune favours the brave. And Luke is going to love this one. Is Luke on? Yeah, he's here. He who dares wins, Rodders. Even Del Boy knew it. He who dares wins. Fortune favours the brave. Success will always favour the risk taker. Look at even the SAS. What's the programme called? It's not just called SAS. It's called SAS Who Dares Wins. Those who risk the least will almost proportionally end up with the least, especially in business, because those of you who have your own business will understand there is zero certainty. I can have a day when I wake up when 5 people randomly send me a message without me even asking, don't even want to book a sales call, and say, Lee, I've been following your stuff, it's banging, can I work with you? How do I sign up? I'm like, wow, 5 new clients in one day. The next day, I can have 5 people who decide to make their complete inaction all my fault. They cancel their contracts on payments on Stripe. They ghost me. They don't reply. They slag me off behind my back, and everything in between. This is why sometimes my job is mentally so hard, because I've got one person saying, oh my God, your coaching is the most powerful, best thing in the world I've ever seen. You've completely changed and saved my life. And then I've got another person saying, fucking hell, Lee Freeman's fucking plan didn't work for me, as they're shoveling fucking cheese and onion Walker's crisps into their fucking mouth, walking around Crystal Peaks shopping centre. If that's you watching this, you know who you are. True story. True story. Someone telling someone that they didn't know, knew me, waffling down a massive grab bag of Walker's cheese and onion crisps on their lunch break after quitting 3 weeks into the plan, telling the person they were talking to that my nutrition plan didn't work. I must have missed out the point when I put, make sure you have a grab bag of Walker's every lunch. Anyway, so need 3 before we tie these in. Big one for me, isn't it? Significance. So we've got the need for certainty. We've got the need for uncertainty or variety. So we want to analyze where we're at on that seesaw. Don't have to go crazy one way. Don't have to go crazy the other way. Let's try and get a balance. And then we have the need for significance. Now, when I've looked deeply into what significance is, and I must, as always, credit Peter on this, because this is some coaching that I'm receiving from him. He's incredible. Significance is a need to have your own identity separate from that of other people. It's a need to be noticed. It's a need to be heard. It's a need to be loved. And very often it goes too far the other way. I have a massive need for significance. And this will have inbuilt from very young days. I showed you the rugby picture the other day, didn't I? Like 15 years old, scoring tries in front of reasonable crowds for a men's first 15 rugby club. I've never, still to this day, probably felt the buzz of some of that, because you feel so significant walking off the pitch. I remember a game when John Drew was the coach at the time. And I played a game and I think I scored 3 tries and kicked 12 points. And we beat the other team to 0. And he was this big 6'8" rugby coach in the changing rooms. And he was like, Hitchin Hedgehogs. No, he said, sorry, I played for Hitchin Hedgehogs. He was like, Lee Freeman 36, St Albans 0. Drunk after like 4 things. So I was put on this pedestal of significance. And then I just craved it. Why? Because it made me feel fucking great. But then sometimes the sense of self-importance with significance goes too far the other way, that if we're not getting it, we're unhappy. And I've always told this story. That exact same game, or the morning after, I can't remember exactly what happened. I think it was exactly about 5 minutes after, typical my granddad, about 5 minutes after the final whistle. As I've told you guys before, pulled me to one side. And he said, boy, I just want you to know this one thing. He says, there's a very fine line between confidence and arrogance. Today you stepped over that line, and I suggest you redefine where that line is, get back on the right side of it, or people are not going to like you. Just trot it off. Typical. No, like, yeah, well done for the tries or whatever, or well done for playing so well. But that was the grounding point, right? So we need sometimes to be pulled back. You can have people blowing smoke up your ass and giving you significance and it feels good, but then you start to believe your own hype. You start to believe your own bullshit. You start to become an ego-driven maniac. So you need that to bring you back. But it's almost certainly what men go after as well. Men chase significance, money, muscles, cars, beautiful women. And it's back to that illusion that your net worth equals your self-worth. So if I get the model girlfriend, if I get the Ferrari, if I get on TV, if I get the 5-bedroomed house, if I get the holiday in the Maldives, if I have a big bank account, everyone will love me and I'll feel significant. You've all met these characters in your life, right? The guy with the best car, the guy with the best suit, the guy that walks into the schools, walks into the school playground, and you can tell they've just got that pure sense of arrogance because they've got money. That's when it's gone too far. But this need to be seen as successful in order to be happy and okay will very often lead to you not being happy and okay. And it's very weird, isn't it? It's led by celebrities, right? It's very much led by footballers. Think about what all young kids 14 and 15 are looking up to. Ronaldo with his fucking £164,000 watch, his fleet of cars, or Beckham, and their houses, and their smoking hot birds, and their money, and they're on TV. Wow, that's what I need in order to feel happy. So the need for significance is why we do a lot of things that we do. So that is the third human need. I promise this, it will make sense at the end. Neil Major, if you're watching, I'm going to be a little bit late for your call at 9 o'clock because this isn't going to finish in time. I don't want to keep it all on one training. So, Stephen, what he mentioned. What's the opposite of significance? The opposite of significance, and the fourth human need, and the most important, and certainly what I feel I'm looking for now, is love and connection. Can everyone hear me okay? I think Luke's put, why are you so quiet? I think nothing's changed at this end, so it looks all good on the audio. Seems okay. Luke, turn your volume up. Del boy, turn your hearing aid up. Anyway, back to the training. Can't be dropping private jokes on a live coaching session. Chat off. Distraction. The need for love and connection. We all need love and connection. And this is what we're really looking for. It's what I was looking for. It's what I've looked for all my life. Searched for. Begged for. Done things for. From scoring tries at rugby to buying big, silly fucking houses, flashy Range Rovers, getting the body, getting the business, running nightclubs, DJing in front of thousands of people, always having to be the best, can serve you in some ways, But what were all of, if I'm willing to peel back the layers of my onion, honestly, and I'm making myself very vulnerable now, what were all those things really about? Desperate for love, desperate for connection. If I can just get this body, more people will love me. If I can get this bank account, someone will love me. If I can get to the top of my career, people will love me. If I can get in the first 15, people will love me. Desperate for patents on the back, desperate for what I never got as a child. So desperately chasing the fourth human need, which is love and connection, and thinking the road to love and connection was significance. Well, fuck me, how much have I now learned that that is not true? And if you are trapped in that hamster wheel, get out. Because the fallacy of using significance and attention to get love and connection will never ever work. And it will always attract the wrong person. Think about that. You actually want to attract a woman, Lee, that wants to be with you because you've got money, significance, and a big bank balance. That's going to attract the worst type of person in the world. Or attracting a person because you have a great body. Again, that's going to attract the worst type of person in the world. Now, I'm not saying that all those attributes don't show that you have good attributes, that you work hard, that you're disciplined, but they shouldn't be the whole thing that makes you think that you are the package. So we're looking for an end game, aren't we? And I think with these four human needs, certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, and significance, we're kind of looking for this end game. When I have all of these things in the right place, then I will finally be happy. But how often have you got to that point, right, where, and this is why it's a fallacy, your relationship's on fire, your career's on fire, your training's on fire, everything on life is in fire, and you think, oh my God, I finally got it. I've got it. I've got to this place of balance. Four seesaws. Significance, love and connection, certainty, uncertainty. I've got to that balance. They're all balanced. I'm the happiest I've ever been. And then how often does this happen? Just as soon as I got my career right, my marriage ended. Just as soon as I fell in love, I lost my job. Just as soon as I got in incredible shape, I broke my fucking neck. It doesn't last. So we're looking for a place and an outcome that even if we get there, it won't last long enough. And again, Peter used an incredible example to describe this. If you put enough money in a fruit machine, right? Eventually, you're going to hit the jackpot, aren't you? If you keep going and you're going, you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, just like you're pushing in life, eventually the 4 cherries are going to drop in and you're going to hit the jackpot. Brilliant. Now try doing it again. You can't. So we're searching for the 4 cherries of perfection, not realizing that as soon as we get there, it goes away because something else happens and then we're building back up. And we have to accept this. And this is what I want you guys to accept. Nothing will ever be perfect all of the time. And be okay with that. So what can we learn from these 4 human needs? And now we can understand that the purpose of life is to live. The purpose of life is not a destination. So as I mentioned, these 2 final needs. These are the needs we need to focus on. These are the route to happiness. These allow you to give up chasing significance, money, women, and whatever else. And we're going to go through them together. The 5th need is the need for growth. And the 2nd need is the need for contribution. How many times have you heard me say life is a contribution-based experience? You will only ever give, you will only ever get what you give. But you have to give without expectation from a heart that is full. Because if you are giving in expectation of a return, you are always going to feel burned. This is why I've said before, stop expecting other people for you. If you find yourself saying, oh my God, X is such a wanker, I'd never treat anyone like that. Good. You're not them. Stop expecting other people from you. Quickest way to get burned. Just be proud of who you are. So think about, right? Everything in nature grows and contributes to something bigger than itself. This is when it becomes non-egotistical. So a tree grows and it contributes to something bigger than itself. Or it's taken out of the food chain by something that is growing and contributing. This is why we can't stay still. This is why we can't move to a comfort zone. Neil, I'll be about 5 minutes, mate, and then we'll jump straight on your call. So we are the same as nature. We are the same as the food chain. Look to nature if you want the answers. And it's growth and contribution that leads to happiness and fulfillment. Now, another great way to describe this, and also growth and contribution will lead to significance, love and connection without you even wanting it. How attractive was a person who's just contributing to the world, which is with a heart that is full without ever expecting anything in return? He's a damn sight more attractive than the guy with the Ferrari, trust me. So growth and contribution is what leads to fulfillment. Now this is another example that Peter used, which I want to share with you guys. So if you think of your life as a glass of water, the glass holds the water. That's the context. The water in the glass is the content. Now, everything in your life, your job, your partner, your goals, your history, your past, your dreams, and everything is the water. Every single thing in your life. How much money you have, what car you drive, how people treat you, your self-worth, your net worth, your happiness, your mindset, your confidence, your goals, your aspirations, your dreams. Everything in your life is the content that is inside that glass of water. Now, what's the glass? The context. So the glass is how you view it. Most people just collect water. Money, cars, people. Never just thinking about how they actually view the things. So if you want to change things for better in your life, if you want to get a better everything, if you want to feel happier about your fitness, your fat loss, your financial situation, your friends, your family, and everything in your life, take the emphasis off of the content and put it onto the content. You just need to change how you view it. It's exactly what we said about changing the pictures of what we believe is good enough or not. If you don't like what's on TV, change the channel. So change the way you look at the glass rather than being focused on what's in the glass. Now, what happens is nearly all people are driven by the first 4 human needs. So they live in a place of how do I get more? Rather than living in a place of how do I give more. See the difference? I can wake up today and I can say, how do I, my screen time is up by 22%. Whoops. How can I give more value today? How can I give this person as much free value as possible on this sales call? How can I turn up and give to the world this week? Or I can go, how can I get more sales? How can I get more clients? How can I get more money? How can I get more significance? And then when I chase it and I don't get it, I feel like shit. I'm not good enough. Nobody wants to work with me. There's problems in the business. So start to focus on how can I give? What can I get? Not what can I get? What can I give? And trust me, when you can do this, everything will flow freely and easily back to you. Because you have no attachment to what you're getting, only to what you are giving. Because remember, you are giving without expectation. And one of the best examples of this is how different does it feel? How good does it feel when you really, really, really make someone else happy? How good does it feel when you know you've made someone's day? When you make someone else laugh, how much better does that feel than making yourself laugh? When you know you've helped someone, how good does that feel? Because you're contributing. And when you're contributing, when you're growing. But we have to also understand that growth is a never-ending story. Growth and contribution is a never-ending story. It's not a place. But greatness and all the success that you've ever wanted comes from giving, from growing and contribution. Help enough people get what they want, and the world will give you what you want. Take the emphasis off of what you want, what you can get, what you need, what you deserve. And just start to think about how we can give. This is going right back to the start of this training, right? So many of you are focused on the fat that you need to lose and how you feel when you don't get the result that you want at the end of the week. You cannot operate from this place. So how does all of this, how do these 6 basic human needs, certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection, growth and contribution, how do those 6 human needs relate to our behavior if we're willing to pull back the layers of the onion and look at why we do the things that we really do, why we behave the way we do, why we make the same mistakes, why we self-sabotage, why we run away from confrontation, why we do anything, okay? And it's because there's 4 angles to this. So the number 1 angle is we do something because it feels good, because it's good for us, and because it makes other people happy. Best example of that is love. Love feels good, it's good for us, and it serves other people. The second one is something that doesn't feel good, but it's good for us. For many of you right now, that might be getting your fucking ass on the treadmill. It doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable. It hurts. For many of you, it might be getting out of bed an hour early. For many of you, it might be swapping your Greg's cheese pasty for a chicken salad sandwich. For one person, it might be stopping eating grab bags of Walker's crisps and making everything somebody else's fault. Okay, it doesn't feel good, but it's good for you. Exercise. Now, Number 3 is what destroys lives. It feels good, but it's really bad for us. Smoking, drugs, cheating, smoking, drinking, gambling. Feels good. Sniff a line of coke, feel good. Neck a pint of lager, feel good. Smoke a cigarette, feel good. Eat the Greg's pasty, feel good. But they're all bad for us. Now, number 4 doesn't really come into this, but number 4 is the dangerous one. Number 1 is it doesn't feel good and it's not good for us. Crime, violence, stealing, those types of things. We don't really need to discuss that. So let's use that as an example. Why do people smoke? Why do people take drugs? Why do people drink alcohol? Because it feels good. And what else does it give us? The first human need, certainty. Drink a pint of lager, you know exactly how you're going to feel. Does it give you certainty? Yes. Does it give you variety? Of course it does. It changes your state. Does it give you significance? Well, kind of. A lot of people think they're significant because they drink champagne. A lot of people think they're significant because they sniff cocaine. A lot of people used to think they're significant because they smoked cigarettes. Now that's completely changed and is probably the biggest single reason, apart from the health changes, why there's been a massive downturn in smokers. It's not seen as... Smoking used to be seen as quite cool, didn't it? Do you remember at school? Like, it was all the cool kids who smoked, right? And now it's quite the opposite. Do they give us love and connection? Well, of course they do. Connection with other drug users because you're lonely. Connection with other smokers. Connection with other people who can't stop eating shit. So you can have love and connection together over a Greg's cheese pasty. So, all of those things, in some way, shape or form, meet our basic human needs, the first 4. So, if you take away the thing from the person that gives them all their basic human needs, what does it do? If the only thing that a person has to have certainty, drink a pint of lager, feel distressed, know exactly how I'm going to feel, gives you variety, changes your state, makes you feel significant, I'm the one in the bar getting the round in, gives me love and connection because I'm with all my other mates who drink lager. So if you take it away from that person, what does it do? Takes away their 4 basic human needs. Leaves them without love and connection, leaves them without significance, and it leaves them without variety, and it leaves them without certainty. Because if they're not drinking on a Friday night, they don't know what they're doing. So this is why, to change behaviour, those things have to be replaced. You can't focus on stopping, you have to focus on replacing. And if we can understand this, this is when we can start to show compassion and empathy and help people. Do you know what? I now realise I need to stop judging him. It's not his fault that he can't stop drinking on a Friday night, because it's the only thing he's got in his life that are meeting his 4 basic human needs. It's the only thing that he's got that's making him feel certain. It's the only thing that's giving his life variety. It's the only place he's getting love and connection, and it's the only place he's getting significance. So if I take them away from him, he's left with nothing. Addiction isn't the problem. It's the attachment to the needs. So we must replace, not stop. We must, if we're going to stop eating shit, smoking cigarettes, drinking, gambling, taking drugs, or anything in between, we has to be replaced with something else that gives you certainty. Know how you feel. Well, go to the gym. How do you feel? Great. Afterwards. Gives you variety. Yeah, brilliant. Loads of different forms of exercise. From wakeboarding to swimming to mountain biking to the gym to Zumba to climbing up mountains to lifting weights to body pump to boxing to martial arts and everything in between. It gives you variety. Does it give you significance? Well, yeah, of course it does. As long as you don't take it too far. Wow, mate, you're looking great. You're looking in great shape. You ran a marathon. Well done. Awesome. Gives you significance. Does it give you love and connection? Of course it does. Who felt love and connection when we all did the marathon? Who feels love and connection on any of our events? So we've taken away the thing that was meeting our four basic human needs, which was alcohol, and we've replaced it with something else that meets our four basic human needs of certainty, variety, significance, and love and connection. So this is how we need to understand as well, and this is how we need to really move forward. Now, before I finish on the final insight, is in the negative ones of those, they might meet, alcohol might meet the first four human needs, or drugs, or food, or smoking, or anything, but they never meet the last two. You're never growing and contributing by any of the last two. Okay, so you're not contributing to the world by drinking alcohol. You're not growing as a human by drinking alcohol. You might meet those first four needs, but what about the exercise? Are you growing as a human? Yeah. Are you contributing? Yeah. You're inspiring your kids. You've replaced the love and connection of drugs with the love and connection of exercise users, and then you've grown and contributed by inspiring other people to live a happier life. Now, here is the absolute game changer. Remember, I talked about the first set of things. Something that feels good and is good for us. Love. Then we talked about the second thing that doesn't feel good but is good for us. Sometimes healthy eating and alcohol. Now, when we can take that second one and turn it into something that feels good. So when we can take number two and turn it into a number one, not a poo into a wee, by the way, before someone comments, that's when we're really, 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 really winning. So we've taken this thing, exercise, mindset, that didn't feel good to start with, but is good for us. And now we've turned it into something that feels good. I love training. I love going to the gym. I love contributing. This is when you're winning, because this is when the energy comes outside of you and you inspire other people. And if you inspire other people because you've taken this thing that didn't feel good but now feels good, so you've moved a 2 to a 1 and you're now on fire and you're getting this big payoff from this thing that's positive and healthy and is growing and contributing, and it becomes part of your identity and it becomes your new addiction, that is when you are winning, because you're nailing the first four and the second two as well. So we have certainty, we have variety, we have significance, we have love and connection, and we have growth and contribution, all in one, that has taken from the habit that at first didn't feel good but we knew was good for us, and then we turned it into something that actually felt good. So find positive habits that meet all of the needs, and then your life will become effortless. So now you should know why you behave the way you do and why other people do. So stop being so fucking judgmental and start showing love and more love and compassion. That's going to make you feel better. That's going to mean you're growing and contributing. Okay? And this is going to lead to the happy and fulfilled life you will want. Neil, I apologise. I'm 15 minutes late. I'm jumping straight on with you. Guys, I love you all. Have an amazing day. Stay unbreakable.